Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to Stately Vaughn Manor. And today, it's Tag Tuesday, and I do have a tag for you this week. I'm doing the book nostalgia tag, which was created by Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse. That's a good channel. You should check that one out. I'll put the original of that tag down below. I was tagged by Mark at Book Time with Elvis. Thank you, my friend, for tagging me. I'll link that channel down below. Also, because it's so fantastic, Book Time with Elvis. You probably all watched it already. At least you should, because it's fantastic, like I said. Okay, what do we got? We got 10 prompts, but then there were 4 extras that were tagged on there by Summer from Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. Thanks, Summer. Okay, so here are the questions. Question number 1, the oldest book from your life that you still own. I have a couple that are around the same, I've had around the same amount of time. This one is the one I'm going to be talking about, this big guy. My EC Comics book. This was my stepfather's book. And I used to read it all the time. And you'll see why. This is a book about, look at that, about the great EC Comics, horror comics from the 50s. This book is incredible. There we go, the horror comics from the 1950s. And this tells the story of EC Comics. And some of the great artists, and it represents in a very, very big book the original stories, and it's just amazing. Some great stories in this book. EC Comics did create the greatest comics ever. Just magnificent stories in this. I used to, like I said, I read it over and over again, which is why my brain is so warped from reading all of these terrifying horror comics from the 1950s in this just brilliant, beautiful book. Yeah, this book is great. Full of good stuff. So yeah, this is the oldest one, probably. Okay, what's question number 2? First loved library book. Well, that's a tough question because I don't remember the title, but I remember my mom used to take me to the library like once a week, pretty much. And I would always check out the same few books over and over again, and one of them that I remember pretty clearly, I don't remember the title though. It could have just been werewolves. It was a book about werewolves, but real werewolves. You know, like the legends of the werewolves. It was this book that had all these old werewolf legends, and it was great. I just remember it was about werewolves, and I read it over and over again. That's all I remember about it, because I was a little kid. So that would be the one. 3, a book given to you. A book given to me. Oh, I left these over there. Hold on. Okay, I have returned with the books given to me. A couple things. These aren't books, these are magazines, but I just got these in the mail the other day from Gary Levisi, which are a couple issues of Paperback Parade, a little magazine that Gary produces. And this one in particular is pretty awesome because it's got a whole bunch of stuff in here about the Star Trek books, which it's Book Track 2021. So we just happen to be doing or reading Star Trek books. There's Spock Must Die. It's really pretty cool. It has all this stuff in here about the original Star Trek books. So thank you, Gary, for sending me that. And since it is the spooky season, I'm going to mention a couple books I've gotten recently from, and you might have seen this if you watch my ridiculous channel, I got a couple books from Coffee, Cats, and King. I got Witch House, which I would really like to sneak in this October if I can, because I really have been wanting to read this book. And this deathless classic of literature, Panzer's Spirit. I want to read Panzer's Spirit. I've heard nothing but great things about it. So yeah, those are some books I got as gifts. Not a long time ago or anything, but you know, they are gifts. Okay. A book recommended to you. Okay, a book recommended to you. For me, I'm going to go with a book that was recommended to me by my brother, the Duke. The Duke of Vaughan recommended this book to me, and I'm very glad he did. This is Joe Abercrombie's The Blade itself. Fantastic fantasy trilogy with our man Galacta, everybody's favorite character. So yeah, The Blade itself. This is a hardcover set that just came out. Of course, this is a trilogy. It's really all just one novel, really. And this is just the introductory portion of it, where it introduces the characters and the basic situation. Then it goes on to Before They Are Hanged, which is an even better book. This book is fantastic. And of course, it concludes magnificently with this book, The Last Argument of Kings. And I like this little set. I've been wanting these in hardcover forever, and finally they did it. So I was happy to get those. So that is my recommended book, recommended to me by the Duke of Vaughan. Okay, what else do we got here? Into a buddy read text. A buddy read text. That's number 5. Well, I have done a couple of those, and I just did a video on this. It was magnificent, as all my videos are. So Rebecca would be my recent buddy read text, and like I said, I did a video on it. It was a pretty darn good book. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. Okay, so that's my buddy read text. A book introduced to me in school. I imagine that many of us have been introduced to this book in school. It was an awful good book. It's one I actually read while I was in school. It was so good. Usually they recommended books in school like Moby Dick, and I just didn't read them for like decades. But this one I read pretty much right away from what I remember. This is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. It's a great book. Everybody knows this is a great book, and it is. It's a great book. So, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. That book's awesome. Let's see. A genre fiction that inspires nostalgia. I'm going to go for fantasy on this one. And this is kind of a fantasy classic. It is a fantasy classic, but it is fantasy, and it's what really inspires nostalgia for me, because I always think back whenever I even look at this set, and that would be this set. This is The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. My beat up, tattered, boxed set of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. There's a great scene of The Hobbit there. These are really nice editions. These are probably my favorite. This is probably my favorite paperback edition. Poor The Hobbit, though. It has just been there and back again. So that one is not. That one is not in fantastic shape. We got The Fellowship. I love that cover. I love all of these covers. They're a little shiny, so you probably can't see them to full effect. And then we've got a great edition of The Two Towers. There are hobbits and Schmeagol down there. And The Return of the King. All these books, I just see the covers. They just take me back, these guys. So that would be the genre book that fills me full of happy memories. Okay. Literary work that inspires nostalgia. I'm going to go with this one, War and Peace, which I talked about on a Sunday Penguin not too terribly long ago. I love this book. This is great. And it inspires nostalgia because I read this, was it my early 20s maybe? I can't remember exactly how old I was. I was on the younger side when I first read this. And it's the book that made me realize that these big monster classic fiction works can be every bit as entertaining as, say, The Lord of the Rings. I loved this book. I have very good memories of reading this. This isn't the edition that I read the first time. That was probably, was it Bantam? I forget. It was a big fat little paperback. But yeah, War and Peace. That's the one that inspires me with nostalgia. Okay, what do we got next? Spiritual text that inspires nostalgia. None, because it's me. I am the least religious person you'll ever meet. No, that's completely out of my wheelhouse, anything spiritual or religious. I'm a atheist, materialist, don't believe in anything supernatural. So no, I don't have one of those. Don't particularly want one either. So here are some extra questions that were added by Summer from Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats. That's a great channel. Summer's awesome. So let's see what she has. Okay. Was there a book banned to you when growing up? That's her first additional question. No. No. Mm-mm. As you might have seen me pulling out the EC Comics, horror comics that I read when I was tiny. And Dracula I read when I was small. Dracula. No, nothing was banned to me when I was a kid. Number 2, when was the first book that you could feel was written by someone from a country different than your own? That again would be Dracula, which takes place in England and Transylvania, and it had a feel that didn't feel American. And again, I was pretty small when I read this. So this would be the one. Yeah. It felt like it was from another place. It was from that distant, strange place called England, where everybody talked with an odd accent. Or so it seemed when I was small. Okay, number 3. Have you ever found anything in a book? Yes, but nothing good. It's like I never find money in books. I always just find, like, movie tickets and notes that have no meaning and various scraps of paper. Nothing really exciting. I can't remember getting anything too exciting in a book. And number 4, do you have an upcoming read that inspires nostalgia? I was thinking of reading this again. I pulled this out. This is The Wolf's Hour by Robert R. McCammon. I read this when I was in high school, my senior year, my last year of high school, I think is when this came out. And that is when I read it. I think I read it pretty close to when it came out. It's time to pick this one up once again. I'm thinking, I was thinking I was going to make that for early next year, but you never know. I'm always busting up my plans. I think that was it. So I just have to tag some people. So who should I tag? This is one of those things that I really should think about ahead of time, and I never ever do. But I'm going to tag right away Justin from This Just In, because I want to know what Justin's answers to these questions might be. So Justin from This Just In, I'll tag him. And I'm actually going to tag also the Bookish Report, because I'm curious what the Bookish Report's answer might be for these questions. Again, don't feel obligated to do these tags if you don't want to, but you know, I have to tag some people. It's the law. So I tagged you guys. Okay, my friends, that's your tag for today. Tomorrow is my Epic Comic Book Wednesday, where I'm talking about something appropriate for the season. Later on this week, I'm going to be having my giveaway. So that should be exciting. Check that out, and I will see you next time.